When Elena Whitmore's vintage coupe died on Harbor Avenue, she had no idea that the mechanic who refused her cash tip would become the man she'd risk everything for. Marcus Cole wasn't interested in her money, her name, or the spotlight that followed her everywhere, and that's exactly what made her fall. But when a photo of them laughing together went viral, the whispers started. Then came the lie. A vicious online rumor claiming her foundation had secretly paid off his shop, turning their love story into a scandal that threatened to destroy the business Marcus had sacrificed everything to protect. Suddenly, Elena had to choose between the polished world she was born into and the grease-stained garage where she finally felt real. And Marcus had to decide if loving her was worth losing the one thing his father left him. This is the story of two people from opposite worlds who learned that real love can't be bought. It can only be earned, one honest moment at a time. If you're watching this, subscribe and tell me where you're from, because this love story hits different when you've ever felt like you didn't belong. The engine coughed once, then twice. Then it died. Elena Whitmore gripped the steering wheel as her father's vintage coupe rolled forward on nothing but momentum. The afternoon sun painted Harbor Avenue in gold, but all she could see was the blinking oil light on the dashboard. "No, no, no," she whispered. "Not today." The car drifted toward the curb. She guided it past a corner storefront, past a coffee shop with outdoor tables, and finally to a stop right in front of a wide garage bay. The sign above read, "Cole & Cole Auto," in faded blue letters. Elena sat there for a moment. Her hands shook. This car was the last thing her father had given her before he died. She'd driven it maybe 10 times in 2 years because every time she turned the key, grief sat in the passenger seat. The bay door stood open. Inside, she could see tool chests lined against the wall and a car up on a lift. A man stepped out, wiping his hands on a red shop towel. He was tall, with broad shoulders and close-cropped hair. His navy work shirt had Marcus stitched over the pocket. He walked over to her window. Elena rolled it down. "Trouble?" he asked. His voice was calm, not rushed. "It just died," Elena said. "I was driving fine, and then it just stopped." Marcus glanced at the hood. "Can you pop it for me?" She pulled the lever. He walked to the front, lifted the hood, and leaned in. Elena got out of the car and stood on the sidewalk, hugging her purse against her ribs. After a minute, Marcus straightened up. "Fuel delivery issue. Could be the pump or a clogged filter. Won't know for sure until I get it inside and run a proper check." "Can you fix it?" Elena asked. "Yeah, but not standing on the street." He wiped his hands again. "Let me see if we can get it rolling into the bay. You steer, I'll push." Together, they moved the car into the garage. Marcus guided her to a spot near the back wall, then waved for her to set the brake. When Elena climbed out, her legs felt wobbly. "Thank you," she said. "I didn't know what I was going to do." Marcus pulled a clipboard from a pegboard on the wall. "I'll need your contact info. I can get you an estimate by tomorrow morning." Elena gave him her number. As he wrote it down, she reached into her purse and pulled out 320s. "For your time." Marcus looked at the cash, then at her. "I didn't do anything yet." "You helped me off the street. That's something." "That's just decent," he said. He didn't take the money. "Come back tomorrow at 10. I'll walk you through the options, and we'll figure out a fair price." Elena stood there with the bills in her hand. She wasn't used to people saying no to money. "Okay," she said quietly. She tucked the cash back into her purse. 10 o'clock. 10 o'clock, Marcus repeated. He set the clipboard on the counter. "Invoice will be ready." Elena glanced once more at the coupe. It looked small and out of place under the bright garage lights. She turned and walked out into the late afternoon air. Behind her, she heard the scrape of a rolling toolbox and the low hum of an air compressor. When she got home that night, she stood in her apartment and looked at her phone. Marcus Cole. She didn't even know his last name yet, but something about the way he'd refused the tip made her chest feel lighter. The next morning, Elena showed up at 9:55. She carried 2 coffees in a cardboard tray. Light rain tapped against the sidewalk, soft and steady. The bay door was open. Marcus stood near the counter, flipping through a folder. When he saw her, he straightened. "You're early," he said. "I brought coffee." Elena held up the tray. "I didn't know how you take it, so I got 1 black and 1 with cream and sugar." Orchestrated narrative pacing across 8 chapters with consistent stylistic voice. "Good start. I'm keeping the language simple and direct. Short sentences. Natural dialogue. I need to continue with the estimate scene, then move into Chapter 3, where she asks about learning maintenance, then Chapter 4 with the class, Chapter 5 with Grant, Chapter 6 with the photo, Chapter 7 with the dinner invitation, and Chapter 8, where she decides to keep showing up. Let me continue at this pace and style." Marcus took the black one. "Thanks." They sat at a small table near the waiting area. Marcus opened the folder and slid a paper across to her. "Here's what I found. Fuel pump is shot. Filter's clogged too. I can do a quick patch to get you running for a month or 2, or I can replace both and do it right." Elena studied the numbers. "What's the difference?" "The patch is cheaper. 200. But you'll be back here when it fails again." He tapped the second column. "The full repair is 650, parts and labor, but it'll last." "What would you do?" Elena asked. Marcus sipped his coffee. "I'd do it right the first time." Elena thought about her father. How he used to spend Sunday mornings in the driveway, rotating the tires on this same car. How he'd let her hand him wrenches even when she gave him the wrong size. "Do it right," she said. Marcus nodded. "I'll have it ready by Friday." They talked while they drank their coffee. Elena told him the coupe had been her father's, that he died 2 years ago from a stroke, that every time she sat behind the wheel, she could still smell his aftershave. Marcus listened. He didn't rush her or offer easy comfort. When she finished, he said, "My old man started this shop 30 years ago. He got sick 5 years back. I left engineering school to keep it running." "Do you regret it?" Elena asked. "Some days," Marcus admitted. "But most days, no. This place matters. Not just to me. To people like Mrs. Patel, who needs an honest mechanic. To my brother Andre, who co-owns it with me now." Elena glanced around the shop. It was clean, but worn. The kind of place that had seen 1,000 oil changes and 1,000 conversations. She liked it. "Thank you for being honest with me," she said. "That's the only way I know how to work," Marcus replied. When Elena stood to leave, the rain had stopped. She left the second coffee, untouched, on the counter. Marcus looked at it, then took a sip. It was too sweet for him, but he drank it anyway. That same afternoon, Elena came back. This time, she carried a small box. Inside were heavy-duty work gloves, the kind with reinforced palms. Marcus was under a sedan, his legs sticking out from beneath the chassis. When he heard footsteps, he rolled out on a creeper. "Forget something." Elena set the box on the counter. "I want to learn." "Learn what?" "How to take care of the car, basic stuff. So I'm not helpless every time something goes wrong." Marcus stood and wiped his hands. "You want private lessons?" "No," Elena said quickly. "I saw the flyer on the corkboard, the evening basics class. Can I sign up?" Marcus glanced at the flyer. It advertised a 6-week course on Wednesdays at 6:30. Oil changes, tire rotations, brake checks, $20 per session. "You know it's the same price for everyone, right?" Marcus said. "I don't do special treatment." "Good," Elena said. I don't want it. Marcus studied her for a moment. She wasn't performing. She wasn't trying to buy her way into anything. She just wanted to learn. All right, he said. He walked to the whiteboard and circled the date. Wednesday, 6:30. Bring those gloves. Elena smiled. I'll be there. When she left, Andre stepped out from the back office. He was younger than Marcus by 3 years, with the same strong build but a sharper edge to his jaw. You know who that is, right? Andre asked. Elena Whitmore, Marcus said. Elena Whitmore, Andre repeated, as in the Whitmore Foundation, as in old money and society pages. Marcus shrugged. She wants to learn how to change a tire, that's all. Andre shook his head, but he didn't say more. He just posted the class flyer back on the corkboard and went back to the office. Wednesday evening arrived cool and clear. Elena showed up at 6:25, wearing jeans, sneakers, and a silk blouse with the sleeves rolled up. 3 other people were already there: a college kid named Jamie, a middle-aged man named Ron, and Mrs. Patel, who was returning a loaner key when she decided to stay for the class. Marcus stood at the front near a car he'd pulled into the bay for demonstration. Tonight we're doing tire changes. Simple, practical, something everyone should know. He walked them through it step by step. Loosen the lug nuts before you jack the car. Never get under a car supported only by a jack. Tighten the nuts in a star pattern. Elena watched closely. When it was her turn, she knelt beside the tire. Her hands shook as she fitted the wrench onto the first lug nut. It wouldn't budge. Put your weight into it, Marcus said from behind her. She leaned harder. The nut gave. She looked up, surprised. There you go, Marcus said. By the time she got all 5 nuts off and the tire changed, her arms ached. She had grease on her hands and a smudge on her cheek. Marcus handed her a clean rag. You did good, he said. I feel like I ran a marathon, Elena said, laughing. Mrs. Patel gave her a thumbs up from across the bay. Even Andre, leaning against the doorframe, cracked a small smile. When class ended at 7:45, Elena lingered while the others filed out. Marcus was wiping down the tools. Thank you, Elena said, for the patience. You earned it, Marcus replied. They walked out together into the cool evening air. The shop light buzzed above them, casting long shadows on the pavement. A man walking his dog paused across the street. He pulled out his phone and snapped a picture. Elena and Marcus laughing over the grease rag, her hand reaching for his arm. Neither of them noticed. Elena drove home with her windows down, the night air washing over her. When she pulled into her building's garage, she saw someone waiting by the elevator. Grant Ellison. He wore a charcoal suit and held a bouquet of white roses. His smile was polite and smooth, the kind he'd practiced in mirrors. Elena, he said, I've been calling. I know, she said. She walked past him to the elevator. He followed. I brought these for you. He held out the flowers. I thought we could talk. Elena pressed the button for her floor. Grant, we've talked. I said everything I needed to say. You said you needed space. I gave you space. 2 months, Elena. That's long enough. The elevator doors closed. They stood in the humming quiet. We're perfect together, Grant continued. Everyone says so. Your mother says so. Elena turned to face him. I don't want perfect. I want real. What's more real than what we had? Grant's voice lost some of its polish. We understand each other. We come from the same world. That's the problem, Elena said. I'm tired of performing for that world. The elevator stopped on her floor. Elena stepped out. Grant followed her down the hall. Is this about that mechanic? He asked. Elena stopped at her door. What? Someone saw you, At some garage, taking a class. Grant's jaw tightened. Elena, you don't need to prove anything to anyone. I'm not proving anything. I'm learning. She unlocked her door. And you need to go. Grant stood there for a moment. His polished mask slipped just enough for her to see the frustration underneath. We'll talk when you're thinking clearly, he said. Elena closed the door. She rested her forehead against the wood and exhaled slowly. Then she took the roses, because she was raised to be courteous, and put them in water. But she didn't look at them. The next morning, Elena sat at her kitchen table with coffee and toast. Her phone buzzed. A notification from the neighborhood forum. She opened it. The photo from last night was there. Her and Marcus, laughing, her hand near his arm. The caption read, "Heiress slumming at Harbor Ave garage?" Elena's stomach dropped. The comments were already piling up. Some were curious, some were amused, a few were mean. She typed out a message to Marcus. I'm so sorry. Someone took a photo last night. It's online. I didn't mean to bring this kind of attention to your shop. At the garage, Andre shoved his phone in front of Marcus's face. You see this? Marcus read the post. His jaw tightened. Yeah. We didn't ask for this, Andre said. His voice was hard. We don't need people thinking we're some charity project for rich girls. She's not like that, Marcus said. You sure? Andre dropped the phone on the counter. Because this kind of talk can hurt us. People see this, they think we're not serious. They think we're a sideshow. Marcus didn't answer. He just stared at the photo. At the way Elena's face looked open and happy. At the grease smudge on her cheek. His phone buzzed. Elena's message appeared. He read it twice. Then he typed a reply. Not your fault. We'll handle it. But he didn't know if that was true. That afternoon, Elena stopped by the shop. She carried a box of muffins from the bakery down the street. Peace offering, she said when Marcus met her at the counter. You didn't need to do that. I know. Elena set the box down. But I wanted to. They stood in silence for a moment. The air between them felt heavier than before. I'd like to take you to dinner, Elena said. Somewhere quiet. No photos, just us. Marcus shook his head slowly. Not yet. Not yet? Not while people are watching and making assumptions. He met her eyes. I need to keep things fair here. For Andre. For the customers who've trusted us for years. If we go to dinner now, it looks like I'm cashing in on your name. Elena's throat tightened. I don't want you to feel that way. I don't, Marcus said. But that doesn't change how it looks. Elena nodded. She understood. It hurt, but she understood. Okay, she said. Then I'll just keep coming to class. That works, Marcus said. She left the muffins on the counter and walked out into the mild evening. Behind her, Andre appeared from the office and gave Marcus a single terse nod of approval. Marcus picked up a muffin and took a bite. It was lemon poppy seed, his favorite. He wondered if she'd guessed or if it was just luck. Friday afternoon, Elena sat alone on a bench near the marina. She had a sandwich she wasn't eating and her phone in her lap. The forum thread had grown. More comments, more speculation. Most of it was harmless, but some of it stung. She opened her messages and typed to Marcus. How can I help, without stepping on your pride? His reply came fast. Show up, learn, no extras. Elena smiled. She set an alarm for Wednesday's class. Across town, Marcus stood in the bay door of the shop. The sun was setting, painting the street in orange and pink. He watched a car roll past, a couple walking their dog. The everyday rhythm of the neighborhood. He flipped the sign to open, as usual. Whatever came next, he'd face it the same way he faced everything else, with steady hands and honest work. And maybe, just maybe, with Elena beside him. Saturday morning came bright and cool. Elena arrived at the shop at 9:15 with a notebook and a pen. No gifts, no extras. Marcus was already under a car, his voice echoing as he explained something to Jamie, the college kid from class. When he rolled out and saw Elena, he wiped his hands. "Ready to learn?" he asked. "Always," she said. He walked her to a sedan on the lift. "Today we're talking brake pads, how to know when they're worn, why it matters, and what it costs to fix it right versus what it costs to fix it cheap." Elena opened her notebook. She wrote down everything: the measurements, the warning signs, the difference between ceramic and metallic pads. Marcus showed her the math. "Most places charge $80 an hour for labor. Some charge $120. Customer needs to know why. Is it experience? Is it location? Is it just greed?" "How do you decide?" Elena asked. "I charge what's fair for the work and the neighborhood," Marcus said. "Mrs. Patel shouldn't pay Manhattan prices for an oil change." Elena copied that down too. Andre walked past carrying a parts box. He glanced at Elena's notebook, then at Marcus. Something in his expression softened. She wasn't asking for special treatment. She was actually learning. By noon, Elena's hand ached from writing. Marcus set down his wrench. "You hungry?" "Starving." They sat on overturned milk crates in the bay, eating sandwiches from the deli next door. The sun slanted through the open door, warming the concrete floor. "Can I ask you something?" Elena said. "Go ahead." "Why did you really leave engineering school?" Marcus chewed slowly, thinking. "My dad got sick, liver failure. He needed dialysis 3 times a week, and somebody had to keep the shop running. Andre was still in high school, so I came home." "That must have been hard." "It was." Marcus stared at his sandwich. "I had 1 semester left, full ride scholarship. Everyone said I was throwing my future away." "But you didn't see it that way?" Elena said. "No, I saw my dad working himself to death to give me and Andre a shot at something better. Least I could do was make sure his work didn't die with him." He looked up. "He passed 2 years later. But the shop's still here?" Elena set her sandwich down. Her eyes were bright. "My dad used to rotate the tires on that coupe every Sunday. He'd let me help, even though I mostly just handed him the wrong tools. After he died, I couldn't go near a garage. It hurt too much." "And now?" Marcus asked. "Now I think he'd be proud that I'm learning." Her voice cracked a little. "That I'm not just running from the grief anymore." Marcus reached over and squeezed her shoulder once. Brief, steady. He would be. A car horn beeped from the street, a customer waving from their window. Marcus stood. "Back to it." Elena folded her napkin. She watched him walk toward the car, his stride confident and unhurried. Something in her chest felt warm and safe. Sunday afternoon, Elena met Marcus at a diner 3 blocks from the shop. It was the kind of place with checkered floors and laminated menus. Bright, ordinary, public. They slid into a booth near the window. The waitress brought coffee without asking. "So," Marcus said, "tell me something I don't know about you." Elena thought for a moment. "I can't whistle." Marcus laughed. "Seriously? Never could. My dad tried to teach me 100 times. I just blow air." "That's tragic," Marcus said, grinning. "What about you?" Elena asked. "I hate bananas." "Hate them?" "Can't stand the texture. Andre thinks I'm insane." Marcus sipped his coffee. "But put a banana in my smoothie, and I'll never know." They ordered eggs and toast. They talked about small things. Favorite movies. Worst first jobs. The best road to drive at dusk. "Coast Road," Marcus said. 40 minutes north. Ocean on one side, cliffs on the other. Late afternoon, the light turns everything gold. I've never been, Elena admitted. We should fix that. Their hands moved at the same time, reaching for the check. Their fingers brushed. Marcus pulled back first. We're splitting this, he said. Marcus, Elena, we're splitting it. She smiled. Okay. They each left a 10 and walked out into the bright midday sun. Marcus checked his watch. I've got an oil change at 1. And I have laundry, Elena said. So much laundry. They stood on the sidewalk, not quite ready to leave. A bus hissed past. A kid on a skateboard rattled by. I'll see you Wednesday? Elena asked. Wednesday, Marcus confirmed. She walked toward her car. He walked toward his truck. Both of them smiled the whole way. That evening, Elena's phone rang. The name on the screen made her tense. Hi, Mom. Elena, darling. Vivian Whitmore's voice was smooth and measured. I'm calling about the foundation gala. Wednesday. Evening. Small event. Just board members and a few donors. I'm teaching that night. You're attending a class, Vivian corrected gently, which I'm sure is enriching, but this is important. The foundation depends on these relationships. Elena sat down on her couch. What time? 7 o'clock. Cocktail attire, nothing too formal. I have class at 6:30. Then come when you can. Vivian paused. Elena, I won't press, but people are talking about the photos, about choices. What kind of choices? The kind that confuse people who care about you. Vivian's tone wasn't cruel, just careful. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying you need to be thoughtful. Elena closed her eyes. I'll be there, Mom. Thank you, sweetheart. After they hung up, Elena walked to her closet. She pulled out a simple black dress and a pair of low heels. Then she laid out her sneakers and jeans for class. 2 versions of herself. Same night. Wednesday arrived fast. Elena went to class first. Marcus was demonstrating how to check fluid levels, oil, coolant, brake fluid. She watched, participated, asked questions. At 7:15, she slipped out early. Marcus caught her eye as she left. She mouthed sorry and pointed at her watch. He nodded. 15 minutes later, Elena stood at the entrance of a sleek hotel ballroom. Her mother waited inside, elegant in navy silk. You made it, Vivian said, kissing her cheek. I made it. They moved through the room. Elena shook hands. She smiled. She made small talk about grants and initiatives. It all felt like a script she'd memorized years ago. Meanwhile, across town, Andre's phone rang. He answered, listened, then swore under his breath. Marcus, he called toward the bay. We got a problem. Marcus wiped his hands and walked over. What? Donor at that gala. Her vintage roadster died right at the curb. She's asking if we can send someone. Andre checked his watch. You're closer than I am. Marcus grabbed a small toolkit. I'll head over. You know it's a fancy event, right? Andre said. I'll be professional. Marcus pulled on a clean work shirt over his undershirt. It's just a car. He drove to the hotel, parked in the loading zone, and walked around to the entrance. A small crowd had gathered on the sidewalk. In the center sat a cream-colored roadster from the 1950s, hood up, engine silent. An older woman in pearls stood beside it, wringing her hands. It just stopped, right here. I'm mortified. Marcus set down his toolkit. Let me take a look. He leaned over the engine, checked the fuel line, felt the heat off the manifold. Then he smelled it. Vapor lock. The fuel had gotten too hot and turned to gas in the line. I can fix this, he said. He worked quickly and calmly, vented the line, let it cool. Then he primed the carburetor and turned the key. The engine coughed once, then purred to life. The crowd clapped. The woman clutched his arm. Young man, you're a miracle worker. Just physics, Marcus said, smiling. Inside the ballroom, Elena heard the commotion. She and Vivian walked to the windows overlooking the entrance. Elena saw the crowd, saw the roadster, saw Marcus wiping his hands on a rag while a woman in diamonds thanked him. Her chest swelled with something she couldn't name. Pride, admiration, want. Vivian watched her daughter's face. "That's him, isn't it?" "Yes," Elena whispered. Vivian didn't say anything. She just watched Marcus pack up his toolkit, give a polite nod to the crowd, and walk back to his truck. Elena touched her necklace. Her eyes followed him until he disappeared into the night. By 8:15, Elena couldn't stay inside anymore. She slipped out of the ballroom, kicked off her heels, and texted Marcus. "If you're nearby, walk?" His reply came 30 seconds later. "Boardwalk. 20 minutes. Elena grabbed her shoes and hurried to her car. The boardwalk stretched along the water, lit by old-fashioned lamps. The Ferris wheel hummed in the distance. The smell of salt water and fried dough hung in the air. Marcus was already there, leaning against the railing. He'd changed into jeans and a gray Henley. When he saw Elena, still in her black dress, heels dangling from her fingers, he smiled. "You clean up nice," he said. "You fixed a car in front of half the city's donors," she said, walking up beside him. "That was impressive." "That was a Tuesday for me." They started walking. The boards creaked under their feet. A gull cried overhead. A couple passed them, holding hands. "You left class early," Marcus said. "I had to. My mom needed me at that gala." Elena looked out at the water. "But I didn't want to be there. I wanted to be learning about brake fluid." Marcus laughed. "That's a first. I'm serious." She stopped walking and turned to face him. "I liked who I was in that garage. I didn't have to perform or smile on cue. I just got to learn. And mess up. And try again." "You can be that person anywhere," Marcus said quietly. "Not everywhere. Not with everyone." Elena's voice softened. "But with you, I can." They stood there, the lights from the Ferris wheel painting their faces in soft colors. The night was cool. The water lapped against the pilings below. Marcus reached up and tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. "Elena, I know this is complicated," she said quickly. "I know people are watching. I know it's not fair to you, or the shop, or—" He kissed her. It was unhurried, gentle, certain. Elena's hands found his shoulders. His arms circled her waist. The world shrank to just the two of them. The boardwalk, the water, the quiet hum of the Ferris wheel. When they pulled back, Elena's eyes were shining. "I've wanted to do that since you handed me that grease rag," Marcus said. Elena laughed. "I've wanted you to do that since you refused my tip." They walked the rest of the boardwalk hand in hand. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. By the time they reached the end, where the sand stretched into darkness, they both knew something had shifted. "Tomorrow," Elena said. "Coffee at the shop?" 10 a.m., Marcus agreed. They kissed once more, quick and sweet, then walked to their separate cars. Elena drove home with the windows down, her heart light. Marcus drove back to his apartment, grinning at nothing. Neither of them saw the second photo. The one someone took from the Ferris wheel. The one that showed them kissing by the railing. Not yet. Thursday morning, Andre sat hunched over the shop computer. His jaw was tight. His knuckles white on the mouse. "Marcus!" he shouted. Marcus walked in from the bay, wiping oil off his hands. "What's wrong?" Andre spun the monitor around. On the screen was a forum post from a burner account. No name, no profile picture. Just a claim. Whitmore Foundation quietly funneled $50K to Cole Auto. Guess we know why the heiress is slumming now. Marcus stared at the screen. His stomach turned to ice. Is it true? Andre asked, his voice hard. No, hell no. Marcus leaned closer, reading the replies. They were already multiplying. Speculation, jokes, a few outright accusations. The phone rang. Andre answered it. Cole and Cole. He listened, then hung up. Mrs. Chen, she's canceling her appointment. The phone rang again. Then again. By 9:30, 3 bookings had been canceled or postponed. A walk-in customer pulled into the lot, got halfway to the door, then got back in his car and left. Andre slammed his hand on the desk. This is exactly what I was afraid of. Marcus stood frozen. His mind raced. The Foundation hadn't given them anything. Elena wouldn't do that, but the damage was already done. People believed what they wanted to believe. At 10:05, Elena walked through the door carrying 2 coffees. She saw Andre's face first, then Marcus's, then the screen. Her face went pale. What is that? You tell me, Andre said. I didn't. Elena set the coffees down and pulled out her phone. She opened the Foundation's records, her hands shaking. There's no donation. We didn't give you anything. This is a lie. Doesn't matter, Marcus said quietly. People think it's true. Elena looked at him. His face was closed off, guarded. Marcus, I swear to you. I believe you. He took a breath. But we need space until this clears. I can't risk the shop for a headline. Space? Elena's voice cracked. I'm not saying forever. I'm saying not now. Not while our customers are walking away because they think we're on your family's payroll. Elena's eyes filled with tears, but she didn't let them fall. Okay. She turned and walked toward the door. The 2 coffees sat on the counter, unopened, steam rising, getting cold. Marcus watched her go. His chest felt tight, like something was cracking inside him. Andre sat back in his chair, his anger deflating into something heavier. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, Marcus said. Me too. Outside, Elena got into her car. She gripped the steering wheel and let herself cry, just for a minute. Then she wiped her face, started the engine, and drove away. Behind her, the shop stood quiet. The bay door open, the sign still reading Cole and Cole Auto. But for the first time in years, it felt like the walls were closing in. Thursday afternoon felt long and gray. Elena sat in her apartment staring at her phone. The forum thread had grown to over 200 comments. Some defended her. Most didn't. At 2 hours, her phone rang. Grant. She almost didn't answer. Then she did. I heard, Grant said. No greeting. About the garage situation. Of course you did, Elena said flatly. I can help. I know people at the newspaper. We can spin this, issue a statement, control the narrative. Elena stood and walked to her window. Below, the city hummed with traffic and voices, normal people living normal lives. I don't want to spin anything, she said. Elena, be reasonable. This is hurting you. Let me handle it. By doing what? Getting back together so it looks more acceptable? So people stop talking? Grant paused. Would that be so terrible? Elena's grip tightened on the phone. Yes, it would be a lie. We were good together, Grant pressed. We understood each other. We had a plan. You had a plan, Elena corrected. I just went along with it because it was easier than figuring out what I actually wanted. She took a breath. I know what I want now. And it's not you. It's not this. I'm done performing. You're making a mistake, Grant said, his voice cooling. Maybe, but it's my mistake to make. She hung up. For a long moment, Elena stood there. Then she walked to the entryway where Grant's flowers, wilted now, still sat in their vase. She dumped them in the trash. Vase and all. Friday morning, Elena drove her father's coupe with the windows down. No driver, No assistance. Just her and the road. She stopped at a boutique where she'd bought a designer jacket 2 weeks ago. Tags still on. Receipt in her purse. The clerk recognized her. Is something wrong with it? No, Elena said. I just don't need it. She took the refund and walked out. On the way home, she stopped at a coffee shop she'd never been to, the kind with mismatched chairs and local art on the walls. She ordered black coffee and sat by the window, watching people pass. Her phone buzzed. A friend from her old circle. Are you okay? Everyone's talking. Elena typed back. I'm fine. Let them talk. She turned off her phone and finished her coffee in silence. Across town, the shop was quiet. Too quiet. Andre canceled a parts order. Mrs. Patel came in for her scheduled oil change and sat in the waiting area, glancing at the empty chairs around her. Slow day? She asked. Yeah, Marcus said. He didn't elaborate. He worked on her car with the same care he always did, checked every fluid, rotated the tires. When he was done, Mrs. Patel paid in cash and left an extra 20. For good work, she said. Don't let gossip change who you are. Marcus nodded. Thank you, ma'am. When she left, he stood in the bay and looked around. The tools were organized. The floor was clean, everything in its place. But it felt hollow. Andre came out of the office. We're down 30% this week. I know. People will forget, Andre said. But he didn't sound convinced. Marcus wiped down a wrench that didn't need wiping. Maybe. That evening, Elena sat at her kitchen table with a pen and paper. She wrote a note she knew she'd never send. Marcus, I want you. I don't want to harm what you built. I don't know how to fix this, but I'll wait until you're ready to talk. I'm not going anywhere. She folded it and put it in a drawer. Saturday arrived cool and overcast. The shop was supposed to open at 8. Marcus got there at 6. He needed to work with his hands. Needed to think. At 5:40 that evening, he started closing early. Andre had already left. The bay was empty. The lot was empty. Marcus was pulling the bay door halfway down when he heard footsteps. Elena stood at the edge of the lot. No makeup, hair pulled back, jeans, and a plain sweater. I'm sorry, she said, for showing up unannounced. I needed to try. Marcus straightened, but didn't move toward her. Elena, I know I can't fix this with money. I know I can't make it go away overnight. Her voice was steady, but her eyes were red. I've been trying to figure out what to say, and all I have is the truth. I didn't do this. My family didn't do this. But I understand why you need space. It's not about trust, Marcus said quietly. It's about protecting what we built here. Me and Andre. Our dad. This place means something to people. If they think we sold out, you didn't sell out. You never would. Elena took a step closer. But I get it. I do. You worked too hard to let some stranger's lie tear it down. So, what do we do? Marcus asked. His voice was rough. I don't know. Elena's hands shook. I just know I can't be someone's project, and you can't be someone's performance. We both deserve better than that. Marcus closed his eyes. When he opened them, they were wet. I'm not trying to push you away. I know. I just need time to think, to figure out how to fix this without losing everything. Elena nodded. She wiped her cheek with the back of her hand. When you want to talk, I'll be here. She turned and walked back to her car. Marcus watched her go. Every part of him wanted to call her back, to say it didn't matter, to hold her and promise it would be okay. But he didn't. The bay door rattled as he pulled it the rest of the way down. The lock clicked into place, and Marcus stood alone in the dim lot, feeling like he'd just made the hardest choice of his life. Sunday morning came quiet. Elena made breakfast, eggs and toast, and ate it standing at her counter. Then she went for a walk along the marina. The water was gray and still. A few joggers passed, a woman with a stroller. The world kept moving. Marcus changed the oil in his own truck, then sat in the shop office reviewing the books. Every canceled appointment was a line crossed out. Every lost customer was a number that didn't add up. He opened the forum thread once, then closed it. He didn't need to read it again. Neither of them posted anything. Neither of them called. But both of them thought about the other with every quiet hour that passed. Monday morning, 9 a.m. Marcus was restocking shelves when he heard a knock on the side door. Mrs. Patel stood there with a manila folder. "I need to show you something," she said. Marcus let her in. She walked to the counter and opened the folder. Inside were printouts, screenshots of forum posts, timestamps, user activity logs. "I have a nephew who works in IT," Mrs. Patel said. "I asked him to look into that burner account." Marcus leaned over the pages. What did he find? The account was made 2 weeks ago. It posted the donation claim and nothing else. But the IP trace and posting patterns match another account, one that's been making similar posts about other local businesses. She tapped a highlighted section. "Someone's running a smear campaign. It's not about you or Elena. It's just chaos." Marcus felt something loosen in his chest. "Can you prove this?" "These screenshots prove the account is fake, and I pulled the foundation's public filings." She handed him another sheet. "No grants to Cole & Cole. Nothing. It's all made up." Andre appeared in the doorway. "You're serious?" "Completely," Mrs. Patel said. Marcus exhaled slowly, relief mixed with shame. "We jumped to conclusions." "You protected your business," Mrs. Patel said firmly. "That's not wrong, but now you know the truth." Marcus picked up his phone. His thumb hovered over Elena's name. Then he pressed call. Elena was folding laundry when her phone rang. She saw Marcus's name and her heart jumped. "Hello? Elena, it's me." His voice was quiet, careful. "Can we talk?" "Yes, of course." "I'm coming over. Is that okay?" Elena looked around her apartment, laundry half folded, coffee mug in the sink, hair still damp from a shower. "Yes, please come." "I'll be there in 20 minutes. Elena hung up and pressed her hand to her chest. Then she finished folding, rinsed the mug, and tried to breathe normally. At 11:30, Marcus knocked on her door. Elena opened it. They stood there for a moment, just looking at each other. "I'm sorry," Marcus said. "I should have trusted you from the start. Should have known you wouldn't do something like that." "You were protecting your family's work," Elena said. "I understand." "Can I come in?" She stepped aside. Marcus walked into the small living room. It was simple, warm, books on the shelves, photographs on the wall. Nothing flashy. "Mrs. Patel brought proof," Marcus said. "The donation claim was fake. Burner account, someone trying to stir up trouble." Elena's eyes widened. "So it wasn't real?" "None of it, and I should have fought harder to find that out before I pushed you away." He stepped closer. "I was scared of losing the shop, scared of what people would think, and I let that fear make me a coward." "You're not a coward," Elena said. "You're careful. There's a difference." "I hurt you." "You did." She didn't look away. "But I also understand why. We're from different worlds, Marcus. That's real. People will always have opinions." "Let them," Marcus said. "I'm done caring more about what strangers think than what I know is true." Before Elena could respond, there was another knock at the door. She opened it to find Vivian Whitmore standing in the hallway, holding a bag of takeout. "Mom?" Vivian looked at Marcus, then at Elena. "I brought lunch. I thought we could talk." She paused. But I see I'm interrupting. No, Elena said quickly. Come in. Vivian entered, her gaze taking in the room. She set the bag on the counter, then turned to Marcus. You're the mechanic. Yes, ma'am, Marcus said. Marcus Cole. Vivian studied him for a moment. Then she extended her hand. Vivian Whitmore, Elena's mother. They shook. The air felt tense, but not hostile. I assume you've heard about the forum post? Vivian said. We just found out it was fake, Elena said. Vivian nodded. I suspected as much. The foundation keeps meticulous records. We don't issue grants without board approval and public filing. She pulled out her phone. I can issue a statement, short, factual. No grants were made to Cole & Cole Auto. Full stop. Marcus looked at Elena. She looked at him. That would help, Marcus said. A lot. Vivian typed something, then showed them the screen. 2 sentences. Clear, simple, true. I'll post this within the hour, she said, and I'll make sure it reaches the right channels. Thank you, Elena said quietly. Vivian looked at her daughter. Her expression softened. I've been afraid of seeing you hurt. Afraid you'd make choices that would bring you pain. She glanced at Marcus. But watching you these past weeks, I've realized something. You're stronger than I gave you credit for. And happiness doesn't always come in the package I expected. Elena's eyes filled with tears. Mom, Vivian hugged her. I'm trying, sweetheart. That's all I can promise. By Tuesday morning, the foundation's statement was everywhere. 2 sentences that destroyed the lie completely. The forum thread died within hours. A few people posted apologies. Most just moved on to the next topic. At 8:30, Elena and Marcus walked into the shop together. They carried coffee and a bag of donuts. Andre looked up from the computer. You two back together? Yeah, Marcus said. Andre's mouth twitched into a smile. Good. I was tired of you moping. The phone rang. Marcus answered. Cole & Cole. He listened, then grinned. Yes, ma'am. We can fit you in tomorrow morning. Another booking, then another. By lunchtime, the schedule was filling again. Mrs. Patel came by with a thermos of tea and a firm nod of approval. A regular customer who'd canceled last week called back, embarrassed, asking to reschedule. Elena stayed in the background. She fetched water bottles. She sorted a parts delivery under Andre's direction. She didn't try to take over or fix everything. She just showed up, and that was enough. Saturday morning, 10 a.m. The basics class assembled again. Elena stood at the front with Marcus. He handed her a wrench. Show them how it's done. She knelt beside the tire, positioned the wrench, and loosened the lug nuts with steady confidence. One by one, she removed them, lifted off the tire, and replaced it with a spare. Then she tightened everything in a star pattern, just like Marcus had taught her. The class clapped. Andre leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed, a rare smile on his face. When Elena stood, her hands were streaked with grease. Marcus handed her a rag. Their fingers touched, and this time, neither of them pulled away. Good work, he said. Good teacher, she replied. Outside, a camera phone clicked, but this time it was Mrs. Patel taking a photo to send to her nephew with the caption, "Proof that rumors die and truth wins." That evening, Elena drove. Marcus sat in the passenger seat of her father's coupe. They headed north on the coast road, the one Marcus had told her about weeks ago. The sun was setting, painting the ocean in gold and copper. The cliffs rose on their right. The water stretched endless on their left. This is beautiful, Elena said. Told you. They pulled over at a lookout point and got out. The wind was cool and smelled like salt. Below them, waves crashed against the rocks. Marcus leaned against the hood. Elena stood beside him. Next Saturday, Marcus said. We're changing your oil together. Elena laughed. Is that a date? Best kind, practical and romantic. She leaned her head on his shoulder. He wrapped an arm around her waist. Thank you, Elena said quietly, for giving us another chance. Thank you for being patient, Marcus replied, for not running when it got hard. I'm not going anywhere, Elena said. Neither am I. They stood there as the sun sank lower, the light turning soft and warm. The road ahead was clear. The engine purred, and for the first time in a long time, both of them felt like they were exactly where they belonged. The weeks that followed moved like a good engine, steady, reliable, warming up with use. Elena finished the 6-week basics class. On the last night, Marcus handed her a certificate he'd printed himself. Official graduate, he said. You can change a tire, check your fluids, and know when someone's trying to overcharge you. Best education I ever got, Elena said. She meant it. She kept coming to the shop, but not every day. Just enough. She'd bring coffee on Saturday mornings. She'd help sort parts when Andre needed an extra set of hands. She'd sit in the waiting area with Mrs. Patel and listen to stories about the neighborhood 30 years ago. People got used to seeing her there. The stares faded. The whispers stopped. She became part of the landscape, just another person who cared about the place. Marcus and Elena went on actual dates now, simple ones. They'd split a pizza at the corner place. They'd walk the boardwalk on Sunday afternoons. They'd drive the coast road and pull over when the sunset was too beautiful to miss. They didn't hide, but they didn't perform either. One evening in early autumn, they sat on the couch in Elena's apartment watching an old movie. Marcus's arm was around her shoulders. Her feet were tucked under his leg. Can I ask you something? Marcus said during a commercial break. Always. Are you happy? Elena turned to look at him. Yes, are you? Yeah, he smiled. I just wanted to make sure. I'm exactly where I want to be, Elena said. She kissed his jaw. With exactly who I want to be with. The movie came back on, but neither of them paid much attention. They just sat there, warm and quiet, letting the evening unfold at its own pace. October brought cooler air and earlier sunsets. The shop stayed busy. Word had spread about Marcus's work at the gala, and a few of the donors became regular customers. They'd drive their vintage cars to Harbor Avenue and trust Marcus to keep them running. Andre noticed the change. We're up 15% from last quarter, he said one afternoon, showing Marcus the books. Good, Marcus said. Means we can finally replace that lift. And give ourselves a raise. Marcus grinned. Don't get crazy. But he was proud. The shop was more than surviving. It was thriving, and it was doing it on their terms. Honest work, fair prices, no shortcuts. Elena had started volunteering at a youth center 2 blocks from the shop. She taught a class called Life Skills for Independence, basic car maintenance, budgeting, how to read a contract. Things she'd never learned growing up because someone had always done them for her. The kids loved her. She was patient and didn't talk down to them. When one girl asked why a rich lady was teaching them how to change oil, Elena said, because everyone should know how to take care of what matters to them, and because I didn't learn until I was 28. You all get a head start. Marcus stopped by one afternoon to help with a demonstration. He brought a tire and a jack and showed the kids the proper technique. Elena stood in the back, watching him answer questions with the same steady patience he showed everyone. Afterward, they walked to the diner for dinner. You're good with them, Elena said. They're good kids. Just need someone to show them they're capable. Elena reached across the table and took his hand. You're a good man, Marcus Cole. He squeezed her fingers. I'm trying. November came with rain and early darkness. One evening, Marcus texted Elena. Come to the shop. I have something to show you. She arrived at 6 to find the bay door open and the lights on. Marcus stood beside her father's coupe, which was up on the lift. What's wrong with it? Elena asked, worried. Nothing, but I was thinking, you learned how to change a tire and check fluids. You ready to learn how to change your own oil? Elena broke into a smile. Really? Really. Marcus handed her a pair of gloves. Let's get to work. He walked her through every step, where the drain plug was, how to position the pan, how to tell when the old oil had fully drained. They replaced the filter together, his hands guiding hers when she hesitated. Don't over-tighten, Marcus said. Snug, not stripped. Elena focused, her tongue between her teeth in concentration. When the new oil was in and the cap was secure, she stepped back, wiping her hands. I did it. You did. Marcus pulled the coupe down from the lift. Start her up. Elena climbed into the driver's seat and turned the key. The engine purred, smooth and strong. She closed her eyes and felt her father's presence, faint but warm. He would have loved this, loved Marcus, loved seeing her unafraid to get her hands dirty. When she got out, Marcus was already cleaning up. She walked over and wrapped her arms around him from behind. Thank you, she whispered against his back. Anytime. They stood there in the quiet shop, the smell of motor oil and the hum of the overhead lights wrapping around them like a blanket. Thanksgiving arrived with an invitation Elena hadn't expected. Marcus called on a Tuesday evening. So, my mom's hosting Thanksgiving. Andre will be there, my aunt and uncle, couple of cousins. He paused. You want to come? Elena's heart jumped. Are you sure? Yeah, they've been asking about you. Figured it was time. I'd love to, Elena said. Fair warning, my mom's going to ask you 1,000 questions. My aunt's going to try to set you up with recipes, and my cousin Trey's going to show you every photo of me from middle school. Elena laughed. I can handle it. Thanksgiving Day, Elena showed up at Marcus's mother's house with a bottle of wine and a store-bought pie. She'd wanted to bake, but Marcus had warned her his mom's kitchen was a no-amateur zone. Diane Cole answered the door. She was shorter than Marcus, but had the same steady eyes. She pulled Elena into a hug without hesitation. Finally, Diane said, I get to meet the woman who's got my son smiling again. Mom? Marcus said from behind her. Hush, let me have this. Diane ushered Elena inside. The house was warm and loud. Music played from a speaker in the living room. Andre was setting the table. Aunt Linda was pulling rolls from the oven. Cousin Trey was arguing with someone about football. Elena stood in the doorway, taking it all in. Marcus touched her lower back. You good? I'm perfect, she said. Dinner was chaotic in the best way. People talked over each other. Plates were passed. Stories were told. Diane asked Elena about the youth center, and when Elena mentioned teaching car maintenance, the whole table erupted in approval. That's good work, Aunt Linda said. Real work, Andre raised his glass. To Elena, for making my brother tolerable again. Everyone laughed. Elena blushed. Marcus squeezed her knee under the table. After dinner, Elena helped with dishes. Diane stood beside her at the sink, washing while Elena dried. He's different with you, Diane said quietly. Different how? Elena asked. Lighter. When he came back from school to run the shop, he carried so much weight. His father's expectations, the responsibility. He forgot how to just be. Diane handed her a plate. You remind him. He reminds me too, Elena said, of who I want to be. Diane smiled. Then you're good for each other. When it was time to leave, Marcus walked Elena to her car. The night was cold and clear, stars scattered across the sky. Your family's wonderful, Elena said. They liked you, Marcus said. Trey already asked if you'd come to Christmas. Elena laughed. What did you say? I said we'd see. He pulled her close. But I'm hoping yes. Then yes, Elena whispered. They kissed in the quiet street, the warm glow from the house windows spilling onto the sidewalk. December brought the first real cold snap. The shop stayed busy with people needing winter checks, antifreeze, battery tests, tire tread inspections. Elena spent more time at the youth center. One afternoon, a girl named Jasmine asked if Elena could help her look at a car she wanted to buy. It's cheap, Jasmine said, but I don't know if it's a good deal or a scam. Elena brought Marcus. Together, they met Jasmine and her mom at a gas station parking lot where the seller waited. Marcus inspected the car, a 15-year-old sedan with high mileage but a clean interior. He checked under the hood, test drove it around the block, looked at the tires. It's fair, he told Jasmine. Not perfect, but solid for the price. You'll need new brakes in 6 months, and the AC compressor's on its way out. But the engine's good. Jasmine's mom shook his hand. Thank you. We couldn't afford a mechanic. This one's free, Marcus said. Just take care of the car, and it'll take care of you. On the drive back, Elena was quiet. What are you thinking about? Marcus asked. About how you didn't have to do that, but you did anyway. Marcus shrugged. It was 20 minutes. It was more than that, Elena said. It was showing up for someone who needed help. Marcus glanced at her. You do that every week at the center. We're a good team, Elena said. Yeah, Marcus agreed. We are. Christmas came gentle and slow. Elena spent Christmas Eve with her mother at a small family dinner. Vivian had softened over the months. She asked about Marcus without judgment. She even laughed when Elena told her about learning to change oil. Your father would have loved that, Vivian said quietly. I know, Elena replied. Christmas Day, Elena went to Marcus's family gathering. This time, she brought a homemade dessert, apple crisp, from a recipe Mrs. Patel had taught her. It wasn't perfect, but it was hers. Trey declared it the best thing on the table. Diane gave Elena a wooden spoon as a gag gift. Welcome to the family, she said. Elena's eyes burned, but she smiled through it. That night, Marcus drove her home. They sat in her apartment with the lights off, just the glow from the city outside the window. This has been the best year of my life, Elena said. Mine too, Marcus said. They sat in comfortable silence, her head on his shoulder, his hand in hers. Where do we go from here? Elena asked. Wherever we want, Marcus said. Together. New Year's Eve found them back at the boardwalk. The Ferris wheel was lit up in gold and white. The air was cold, but still. They walked hand in hand past the same railing where they'd first kissed. Music drifted from a nearby restaurant. Families and couples strolled past, bundled in coats and scarves. At midnight, fireworks exploded over the water. Elena turned to Marcus, her face lit by color and light. Happy New Year, she said. Happy New Year, he replied. They kissed as the crowd around them cheered, and when they pulled apart, both of them were smiling. January brought a quiet rhythm. Work, class, dates, time with family, time alone. One Saturday morning, Elena arrived at the shop to find Marcus and Andre arguing over a carburetor. I'm telling you, it's the float, Andre said. It's the jets, Marcus countered. Elena set down the coffee and leaned over the engine. What's it doing? They explained. She listened. Then she pointed. Did you check the fuel line connection? It looks loose. Both brothers stared at her. Then Marcus checked. The connection was indeed loose. He tightened it, and the problem resolved. Andre laughed. She's officially one of us. Marcus looked at Elena with something close to awe. Yeah, she is. The story doesn't end with a wedding or a grand gesture. It ends on a regular Tuesday afternoon in March. Elena is under a car, changing her own oil while Marcus supervises. Her hands are steady, her movements confident. "How's it look?" she asks. "Perfect," Marcus says. She finishes, lowers the car, and stands. Her jeans are stained, her hair's pulled back in a messy bun. She's never looked more beautiful to him. "What?" she asks, catching his expression. "Nothing, just happy." Elena walks over and wraps her arms around his waist. "Me too." From the office, Andre yells, "If you two are done being cute, we have a 3 o'clock. They laugh. Marcus kisses the top of Elena's head. "Back to work." "Back to work," Elena agrees. They walk into the bay together. The afternoon sun slants through the open door. The radio plays something old and familiar. A customer pulls into the lot. The shop hums with life, with purpose, with the steady rhythm of work done right. And in the middle of it all, two people who found each other against the odds continue building something real. One honest conversation, one shared task, one grease-stained day at a time. Because love, like a good engine, isn't something you find perfect and finished. It's something you maintain with patience, truth, and steady hands. And when you do it right, it runs smooth and strong for the long road ahead. The coupe sits in the bay, hood open, engine purring. Elena's father would be proud. Marcus wipes his hands and reaches for Elena's. She takes it without hesitation. Outside, the world keeps spinning. People talk, opinions form and fade. Seasons change. But here, in this garage on Harbor Avenue, two people have built something that lasts. Not because it was easy, but because it was true. The end.